morning.
Good morning.
Happy Daily Dose. It's a beautiful Wednesday. We've moved into the time of year where I think "it's a beautiful" is the start of every sentence, so I love that the most.
Cool.
It's the best time of year. We got our first Daily Dose present this morning, and we could not be more pleased. So this was on the front step, and she just hopped on, and Riley got us a wooden muddler. Thank you. And said, muddle more non-alcoholic drinks this summer. And this is our first present from a Daily Dose watcher. Thanks.
It's our first muddler too, so.
That's true. Even when Mass was drinking, we didn't have a muddler. We have always muddled through, and we'll continue to do so. But now at least you don't have to use the bottom of my Christmas present spoon to smash oranges.
We did do well though, but now we have the correct muddler. I wonder if Quinn has a muddler.
Oh, wonder no more. I'm sure Quinn has 4 muddlers. Thank you so much, Anne. That was so sweet of you. Gal, I love it. What a nice way to start our Wednesday. We'll have you and Dr. Riley over for some non-alcoholic muddled drinks, and you can bring anything you want. And we'll have some scones too, Anne, and some biscuits, and some other desserts. All right, we're going back to the book Still Writing because there were 2 ideas that we came across when I finished it again for the 4th time or whatever. This is a very short little section. She's referencing having gone to the talk of a good friend of hers who had written a very, very revealing private memoir about some family secrets that created a lot of controversy. So she had been asked about her family's response to the book, and she said this. Sorry, I was going to tell you the woman's name. I can't find it right now. It doesn't matter. I mean, it matters to her. Her name is Honor something. Sorry, I set that whole thing up and then screwed it up. Here we go. What's been your family's response? She said, I believe that we don't choose our stories. Our stories choose us. And if we don't tell them, then we are somehow diminished. Diminished. The word went through me like a bolt. I pulled out a small notebook I carry with me and scribbled down what she had just found the grace to say. There it was, all of it. I thought of my favorite passage in the Gnostic Gospels. If we bring forth what is within us, it will save us. If we do not bring forth what is within us, it will destroy us. So this notion of when you hide something that has a powerful pull on you, it diminishes you. And when you share it, reveal it, step away from the shame of it, it empowers you. It allows you to flourish. So you asked me to find it for us today so we could talk about it. What would you like to say?
This is very poignant and up there with everyone I've ever talked to since I've been going to AA. It's what you hide inside you is the fact that you're an alcoholic. It is scary to try and stop it. It is a lot of hard work. It can be dangerous. People have actually died when suddenly being withheld alcohol. And that is something that is incredibly scary. But that's the inner thing. If you don't face the fact that there is something wrong with you, you do suffer longer. And it's the denial part, what you try to do. And we've heard lots of people, especially lots of our guests, talk about this. You engineer your life to say, I'll do this, therefore if I can do this, therefore there's nothing wrong with me. And you keep re-engineering everything because you just won't admit that there is actually something terribly wrong with you.
Yeah, and think how diminished you were, how diminished we were, how diminished I was by this addiction piece. And actually, certainly the physical act of addiction is diminishing, but I would argue that the shame around it is as or more diminishing, because we create a narrative in our head of what will happen if we share with people what's going on, or if we reveal it anywhere or admit that there's something really, really wrong. We create a narrative that certainly could be true. Not everybody who comes out with dirty laundry ends up having the positive response that we do. This writer in the book has become estranged from her family because of that book, or at least at the point that Still Writing was published, she was. So it's not like everybody's waiting for you to lay out challenges. I think there may be people in our extended family who are not as comfortable with us being so open about this as you and I are.
Yeah, maybe.
Because there is some shame around it if you are attached to it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why like you said, this is why we did this in the first place, that there shouldn't be, well, shame around addiction. There really shouldn't be a shame around anything.
Well, that's a pretty good point.
In an ideal, very happy and
supportive
idyllic world,
Well, I mean, so I was going to say, unless you're a pedophile, for example. But here's the thing. If a grown adult didn't feel shame around having been abused as a child, then the grown adult would be able to freely get help and likely be able to break the cycle. The shame, I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist, but just from the little bit of reading I've done about it, the shame of childhood trauma and abuse is often what causes adults who've experienced it to perpetrate it on someone else. That shame factor is really powerful. And if you think it isn't, think about if you're a woman, think about the most popular girl in your junior high class. Now, unless you were her, which I was not, think about the moments in your life where she cast her critical gaze upon you, and tell me that that wasn't a powerful moment. I can think of many, many silly ones. I was very lucky. I was never really bullied in school. But I had moments where I was shamed, because I think we all do. And I could just rattle those off one after the other. And some of those are 40 years ago. So if you think shame isn't with you, if you think you don't carry it, stop and think for just about 10 seconds about being 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. And I bet you too will come up with one. Or you'll come up with a moment where you shamed someone else. And here's what I can tell you. I think it's very likely you shamed someone else because someone had just shamed you and you were trying to cope with it. And so the way you coped with it was to turn and do the same thing to someone else. I can think of plenty of those moments too. You got anything else to say, Dr. Mary?
There is, just to try and make this as broad as we intended. A few years ago, I had a group of students who had to leave MSUM because they were called up for service, and then some of them would come back to finish their degrees, but they weren't quite the same. Some of them were missing a limb, and they just didn't want any extra help. They were very proud for doing it. And I was talking to one of them who redid one of my non-majors class when we talk about addiction, and he said he had a problem because he actually became addicted to the painkillers that he was legally given. And some of his friends were, and some of his friends turned to alcohol, which I didn't understand at the time, because even at the time then, I don't think I was drinking heavily before my addiction kicked in. And I understand what he meant. It became shameful to actually admit that they needed medical help. And then when that help was withdrawn because the medical profession thought, oh, there's something wrong with you, we can't help you, you have to just stop taking this stuff. What do most people who are addicted to painkillers do to get over the edge of that addiction? They either find methamphetamine or they start drinking heavily. And then the shame sits in.
Yeah, shame is insidious and has an incredible capacity to dictate how you move through the world. And I'll just give you this example if you don't know what I'm talking about. Want to put a swimming suit on and go to the beach? Because I don't. And you know exactly why that is. Because we have so surrounded ourselves with the idea of perfect bodies and beach bodies and all of that, that the rest of us feel varying levels, degrees of shame, which dictates how we enjoy ourselves in summer. For no reason. Because I'll go back to the point I make, probably 90% of our conversations. Most people aren't looking at you because they're so consumed with how they look.
We're not actually that important.
No.
Here's another thing, though. I want to make sure that everyone gets this. That this is a message that I hope would reach everyone eventually. I was in rehab with people, and what was wrong with them because they were drank heavily? They couldn't manage their medication because a few of them are actually suffering from some kind of medical imbalance in their brain. They were bipolar to some description. So, to deal with the effects of not being properly or not being successfully medicated for a bipolar disorder, they became alcoholic. And while they were in the rehab, they got the medications they needed. They weren't drinking, and they felt better. Now, the trouble with that is, one of the downsides about taking these medications for these disorders is there comes to a point where you feel like you're fine, so you don't need them anymore. Or your insurance runs out, and you can't afford them.
Oh,
and then you
blessed American insurance. Thank God we're not socialists.
And then you start... I've only been American for 8 days.
We can take great comfort in that.
Let's not realise what's actually broken here. But the point is, and there's shame in that too. Not only is it they might feel shame, it's a shame that actually happens to these people. More to the point.
Yeah, if we could erase shame or minimize it, think how many problems would go away and how undiminished we would move through life, as opposed to trying to be smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. We could get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and live to our fullest, truest purpose. And that would just be a very different place. So, anything else, Dr. Mary?
I think I wanted to get my message across that this could apply to everyone. I think I've done that, I think.
Are you recapping your own talk?
No.
I told you what I'm telling you. I'm telling you what I'm telling you. Now I told you what I told you.
I just realised that the semester's over. I'm not sure. I shouldn't be in teacher mode.
It's all right. Anne Riley, thank you for our first Daily Dose present. That was incredibly, incredibly fun and so thoughtful of you.
And the rest of you can give us a little present
stop.
by hitting like or subscribe.
Oh, Dr. Mary.
I told you
so
I'd
good.
throw that in there.
Really
someone just gave me a thumbs up
that.
there.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Tomorrow is a pre-record with a Wahpeton High School classmate of mine. So we grew up elementary, middle school together till I moved to Moorhead. Chris Swenson is joining us in a pre-record because I have the last of a 4-part series meeting for the Arts Partnership. So we will see you back here live on Friday, but tomorrow just go to the Daily Dose site at 8:30 and that conversation will come up. It's really interesting
conversation.
Very
interesting.
interesting. He's a family and couples therapist and just has some really, really interesting ideas around it. So join us tomorrow for a pre-record, and on Friday we will see you back here live. And we might just make another drink on Friday simply to use the new muddler because I feel compelled to share it. I think we will. We'll talk to you later. Have a good day.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.